The Awakening. In the depths of an ancient asteroid belt, far from the prying eyes of galactic civilization, a massive structure stirred to life. For 40,000 years, it had drifted silently, its existence unknown to the universe at large. But now, as systems whirred and lights flickered on, the last bastion of humanity prepared to reveal itself to a galaxy that had long since forgotten Earth. Commander Elena Vega stood at the central command hub, her dark eyes scanning holographic displays that flickered to life around her. At 35, she was young for her position, but her gaze held the weight of generations. She, like everyone else aboard the Ark, carried the legacy of a fallen world in her DNA. "Status report," she ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Her second-in-command, Dr. Aiden Chen, a brilliant scientist with prematurely graying hair, stepped forward. "All systems are green, Commander. The Ark is fully operational. We're ready to proceed with the Awakening Protocol." Elena nodded, allowing herself a moment to absorb the magnitude of what they were about to do. For millennia, their ancestors had hidden, survived, and prepared for this very moment. The Ark, a self-sustaining habitat built into a hollowed-out asteroid, had been their home, their fortress, and their hope. "Very well," she said. "Begin the process." Throughout the Ark, cryogenic pods hissed open, releasing their occupants from millennia of suspended animation. These were the best and brightest of humanity's remnants, carefully selected and preserved to rebuild their civilization when the time was right. As the newly awakened were tended to by medical staff, Elena made her way to the Grand Assembly Hall. It was time to address her people and set in motion the plan that had been millennia in the making. The hall buzzed with a mixture of excitement and apprehension as thousands gathered. Many were still groggy from their long sleep, while others, like Elena, had been part of the rotating crew that maintained the Ark over the centuries. Elena took her place at the podium, her presence commanding immediate attention. The murmurs died down, and all eyes turned to her. "Fellow sons and daughters of Earth," she began, her voice carried clearly through the vast chamber. "Today marks the dawn of a new era for humanity. For 40,000 years, we have endured in the shadows, preserving the flame of our civilization while the galaxy forgot our existence." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Our ancestors were forced from Earth, our homeworld destroyed by forces that sought to extinguish humanity. But they underestimated us. We survived, we adapted, and now we are ready to reclaim our place among the stars." A ripple of determination spread through the crowd. These people, whether newly awakened or part of the maintenance crew, all knew the history, the sacrifice, and the purpose that had brought them to this moment. "The galaxy has changed in our absence," Elena continued. "New empires have risen, ancient ones have fallen. The powers that once sought our destruction have grown complacent, believing their victory to be absolute. But we have not been idle." Holographic displays sprang to life around the hall, showcasing technological marvels that the Ark's scientists and engineers had developed over the millennia. Faster-than-light drives that could outpace anything known to current galactic civilization. Weapons capable of harnessing the power of stars. Shields that could withstand the force of a supernova. "These are the fruits of our labor," Elena declared. "With these, we will carve out a new future for humanity. But make no mistake, our path forward will not be easy. The galaxy that awaits us is vast and often hostile. We will face challenges that will test our resolve, our ingenuity, and our very humanity." Dr. Chen stepped forward, addressing the assembly. "Our probes have been monitoring galactic communications for centuries. We've compiled extensive data on the current state of interstellar politics, technology, and military capabilities. The Lumina Confederation now dominates much of the galaxy, including the sector where Earth once stood." A holographic map materialized, showing the vast expanse of Lumina-controlled space. It was a sobering sight, a visual representation of the odds they faced. "But we have advantages they cannot anticipate," Chen continued. "Our technology surpasses theirs in many areas. More importantly, They have no knowledge of our existence. The element of surprise is ours. Elena nodded, taking over once more. Our strategy is clear. We will emerge gradually, establishing footholds in unclaimed systems. We'll make contact with lesser powers, forge alliances where we can, and when the time is right, we'll reveal ourselves to the galaxy at large. She paused, her expression hardening. And to those who once sought our extinction, we will send a message. A warning that will echo across the stars. Run. The assembly hall erupted in cheers, the pent-up emotions of 40,000 years finding release in that moment of unified purpose. As the cheers subsided, Elena raised her hand for silence. But remember this, we are not seeking vengeance. Our goal is to secure a future for humanity, to find our place in this changed galaxy. We will fight if we must, but we will also seek peace where possible. We carry with us the best of what humanity was and the promise of what we can become. In the days that followed, the Ark hummed with activity. Scouts were prepared for their first forays into the galaxy. Scientists fine-tuned their advanced technologies for the challenges ahead. Diplomats studied the intricacies of alien cultures they might encounter. Elena found herself in the Ark's observatory, staring out at the star-filled void that had been their silent companion for 40 millennia. Dr. Chen joined her, his face reflecting the mix of excitement and apprehension they all felt. "It's really happening," he said softly. "After all this time, we're finally ready." Elena nodded, her gaze fixed on the distant stars. "Our ancestors dreamed of this moment, Aiden. Through all the dark years, the long silence, they never lost hope. Now it's up to us to honor their sacrifice." "Do you think we'll find others out there?" Chen asked. "Other human survivors?" "I hope so," Elena replied. "The galaxy's a vast place. If we survived, others might have too. Finding them will be one of our priorities." A soft chime interrupted their conversation. It was time. The first scout ships were ready to launch, carrying with them the hopes and dreams of a resurgent humanity. As they made their way to the launch bay, Elena felt the weight of history on her shoulders. They were about to take humanity's first steps back into a galaxy that had forgotten them. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she was determined to face them head-on. The scout ships, sleek and silent, slipped out of the Ark's hidden bays. As they accelerated away, their advanced drives leaving no trace for conventional sensors to detect, Elena whispered a quiet promise to the memory of Earth and to the future they were fighting for. "We're coming home. First contact." The scout ship Horizon glided silently through the inky blackness of space, its advanced stealth systems rendering it virtually invisible to all but the most sophisticated detection methods. At its helm, Captain Zara Corey sat in tense anticipation. After months of careful exploration and data gathering, they were about to make their first direct contact with an alien civilization in 40,000 years. "Status report," Zara called out, her amber eyes fixed on the view screen before her. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Rovi Mehta, responded promptly. "We're approaching the outer markers of the Centauri outpost, Captain. No sign that we've been detected." The Centauri outpost was a bustling trade hub on the fringes of Lumina Confederation space. Intelligence gathered by their long-range probes had identified it as an ideal location for their first contact, diverse enough to not raise immediate suspicion, yet significant enough to spread word of humanity's return. Zara nodded, a mixture of excitement and apprehension coursing through her. "All right, people. This is what we've trained for. Let's make first contact one for the history books." As they neared the outpost, Zara couldn't help but marvel at the diversity of ship designs around them. Vessels of all shapes and sizes moved about, a testament to the vibrant tapestry of civilizations that had flourished in humanity's absence. Initiating contact protocol, Ravi announced, his fingers dancing across the control panel. "Dropping stealth field in 3, 2, 1. In an instant, the horizon shimmered into view amidst the bustling space traffic. Almost immediately, the communications array lit up with incoming transmissions. Multiple hails incoming, Captain, reported Ensign Yuki Tanaka from the communications station. Most seem to be automated customs inquiries, but I'm detecting some confused chatter on open channels. Zara allowed herself a small smile. I imagine we've given them quite a surprise. Let's not keep them waiting. Open a channel to Outpost Control. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a startled-looking alien. Its skin was a pale blue, with delicate frills where ears would be on a human. The alien's large, multifaceted eyes blinked rapidly as it took in the unfamiliar sight of the human crew. "This is Captain Zara Curry of the Earth vessel Horizon," Zara announced, her voice calm and measured. "We come in peace and seek permission to dock." The alien's frills quivered, a sign of agitation or excitement. Zara couldn't be sure. When it spoke, the ship's advanced translation systems kicked in seamlessly. "Earth? But that's impossible. Earth was destroyed millennia ago." "Who are you really?" Zara had anticipated this reaction. "You are correct that Earth was destroyed, but humanity survived. We have been away for a long time. Now we have returned, seeking to reconnect with the galactic community." The outpost controller seemed a loss for words, its frills now vibrating rapidly. After a moment of stunned silence, it managed to compose itself. I see. This is most unexpected. Please hold your position while I consult with my superiors." As the transmission cut off, Zara turned to her crew. "And so it begins. Ravi, keep our defenses on standby, but passive only. We don't want to appear threatening. Yuki, monitor all channels. I want to know how news of our arrival is spreading." The minutes ticked by slowly as they waited. Yuki's console buzzed constantly with intercepted communications. "Captain," Yuki reported, her eyes wide with excitement. "News of our arrival is spreading like wildfire. I'm picking up transmissions in dozens of languages, all asking the same question: have the humans really returned?" Before Zara could respond, the view screen flickered back to life. This time, a different alien appeared, one with an air of authority. Its skin was a deeper blue, with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with bioluminescence. "I am Administrator Zixtal of Centauri Outpost," the alien announced, its tone a mixture of caution and curiosity. "Your arrival has caused quite a stir, Captain Corey. If what you say is true, this would be a moment of great historical significance." Zara nodded respectfully. "We understand the shock our appearance must have caused, Administrator. We are prepared to provide proof of our identity and to discuss our situation in detail." Zixtal's bioluminescent patterns shifted, perhaps indicating deep thought. "Very well. You are granted permission to dock. A delegation will meet you to escort you to a secure conference room. I must warn you, however, that news of your arrival has already reached Lumina Central Command. They will undoubtedly have questions." "We anticipated as much," Zara replied. "We are prepared to address their concerns. Thank you for your hospitality, Administrator." As the transmission ended, Zara turned to her crew. "This is it, people. Remember your training. We're not just representing ourselves here, we're representing all of humanity. Let's show the galaxy what we're made of." The Horizon gracefully maneuvered into the designated docking bay, its sleek design drawing admiring glances from the various alien technicians and dock workers. As the airlock hissed open, Zara led a small delegation out onto the station. The diversity of life forms that greeted them was staggering. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and compositions watched with undisguised fascination as the humans made their way through the crowded corridors. Some whispered excitedly, others backed away in fear or awe. Their escort, a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin, led them to a large conference room. Inside, representatives from various species were already gathered, their expressions ranging from skepticism to wonder. As Zara and her team took their seats, she couldn't help but feel the weight of the moment. This wasn't just first contact, it was humanity's reintroduction to a galaxy that had moved on without them. Administrator Zixtal entered last, taking a position at the head of the table. Representatives of the galactic community, it announced, its voice resonating with authority, we are gathered here to witness an unprecedented event, the return of a species long thought extinct, humanity. A murmur ran through the assembled aliens. Zixtal continued, Captain Curry, the floor is yours. Please, tell us your story. Zara stood, her posture straight and confident. She looked around the room, making eye contact with as many of the diverse beings as she could before speaking. Distinguished representatives, she began, her voice clear and strong. Our story begins 40,000 years ago, with the destruction of our homeworld Earth. But it does not end there. A fraction of our population managed to escape, hiding in the far reaches of space, preserving our culture and advancing our technology in secret. She paused, letting her words sink in. We have watched the galaxy evolve from afar, learning your languages, studying your cultures. Now, we believe the time has come to rejoin the galactic community. We come seeking friendship, trade, and mutual understanding. The room erupted in a cacophony of voices and translated exclamations. Questions flew from all directions. How did you survive for so long? What are your intentions now? Do you seek revenge against those who destroyed Earth? Zara held up her hands, calling for calm. I understand you have many questions. We are prepared to answer them all in time. But first, let me assure you, we do not come seeking conflict. Our goal is to find our place in this new galactic order, to contribute our knowledge and skills, and to learn from you in return. As the initial shock wore off, the mood in the room began to shift. Many of the representatives leaned forward, their expressions changing from suspicion to interest. A reptilian being with scales that shimmered like oil on water spoke up. Your technology must be incredibly advanced to have sustained your people for so long. What advancements can you offer? Zara smiled. This was a question they had prepared for. We have made significant strides in various fields, from propulsion technology to energy production. We're eager to engage in scientific and technological exchange for the benefit of all. The discussions continued for hours, with Zara and her team fielding questions on everything from human biology to their societal structure. As the session wound down, Administrator Zixtal called for order. This is clearly only the beginning of a long and complex process, it announced. Captain Curry, on behalf of the Centauri outpost, I welcome humanity back to the galactic stage. I will be forwarding all records of this meeting to the Lumina Confederation Council. They will undoubtedly wish to establish formal diplomatic relations. Zara nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and anticipation. We look forward to it, Administrator. This is a historic day for humanity, and we hope for the galaxy as a whole. As they left the conference room, Ravi leaned in close to Zara. That went better than we could have hoped, Captain. But you know this is just the beginning. Once the initial excitement dies down, we'll face some hard questions. Zara's expression turned serious. I know, Ravi, but we've taken our first step. Humanity is back on the galactic stage. Now we just have to make sure we stay there. As they made their way back to the horizon, news of humanity's return was already spreading across the galaxy at faster-than-light speeds. In hidden bases and secret outposts, other human survivors began to stir, ready to emerge from their long exile. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity was at the heart of it all. Rising tensions. The news of humanity's return spread across the galaxy like wildfire, igniting a spectrum of reactions ranging from curiosity and excitement to fear and hostility. In the weeks following the Horizon's appearance as Centauri outpost, the political landscape of the galaxy began to shift dramatically. On the Lumina Confederation's capital world, Celestia Prime, the Grand Council convened in an emergency session. The vast chamber, with its soaring crystal domes and hovering platforms, burst with tension as representatives from hundreds of worlds debated the implications of humanity's re-emergence. High Councillor Xera, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate exosuit, called the session to order. Her voice, amplified by the chamber's acoustics, silenced the murmurs. "Esteemed colleagues," she began, her tone grave, "we face an unprecedented situation. A species we believed extinct for millennia has returned, armed with technology that may rival or even surpass our own. We must decide how to respond." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Some called for immediate military action, fearing that humanity might seek revenge for Earth's destruction. Others argued for caution, seeing potential benefits in alliance with such an advanced civilization. Amidst the chaos, a holographic transmission flickered to life in the center of the chamber. It was Administrator Zixtol from Centauri Outpost. "High Counselor, honored representatives," Zixtol's projection spoke, "I come bearing urgent news. More human ships have emerged across the galaxy. They're establishing outposts in unclaimed systems and reaching out to independent worlds. Their influence is growing rapidly." The news sent shockwaves through the assembly. High Counselor Xyra's exosuit crackled with energy, betraying her agitation. "This changes everything. We can no longer afford to debate. We must act." Meanwhile, aboard the newly established human outpost Novaterra, Commander Elena Vega received reports from across the galaxy. The holographic display before her showed a map of known space, with glowing points indicating human contact sites. "Our emergence is proceeding faster than anticipated," Dr. Chen observed, studying the map. "We've made contact with 17 independent worlds and established trade relations with 5 minor powers." Elena nodded, her expression a mixture of satisfaction and concern, and the Lumina Confederation's response? "Mixed," Chen replied. "Some worlds welcome us, seeing opportunities for trade and technological exchange. Others are calling for our containment or even elimination. Their Grand Council is in emergency session as we speak." Elena's eyes narrowed. "We knew this would be a delicate phase. We need to show them we're not a threat, while also making it clear we won't be pushed around." As if on cue, an alert sounded. A Luma diplomatic vessel was approaching Novaterra, requesting an audience. The diplomatic meeting took place in Novaterra's Grand Conference Room, a testament to human engineering with its seamless blend of functionality and aesthetics. Elena stood at the head of the table, flanked by her advisors, as the Lumina delegation entered. The lead diplomat, a tall, avian being with iridescent feathers, introduced himself as Ambassador Krellax. His piercing gaze swept the room before settling on Elena. "Commander Vega," he began, his translator conveying a tone of forced politeness, "I bring a message from the Lumina Grand Council. While we welcome humanity's return, your rapid expansion and military buildup are causing concern." Elena met his gaze steadily. "Ambassador, we understand your concerns, but you must understand ours. We've emerged into a galaxy that once sought our extinction. Our actions are purely defensive." Krellax's feathers ruffled slightly. "Be that as it may, the Council proposes a treaty. In exchange for sharing your advanced technology, we offer protection and a place within the Confederation." The room fell silent as Elena considered the offer. It was clear to everyone present that this was no mere diplomatic overture, it was an ultimatum. "Ambassador," Elena replied carefully, "we appreciate the offer. However, we cannot simply hand over technologies that have ensured our survival for millennia. Nor can we place our fate entirely in the hands of others, given our history." Krellax's eyes narrowed. "I urge you to reconsider, Commander. The galaxy is a dangerous place for those who stand alone." The thinly veiled threat hung in the air as the meeting concluded. As the Lumen delegation departed, Elena turned to her advisors. "They're scared," Dr. Chen observed. "Our return has upset the balance of power they've maintained for millennia." Elena nodded grimly. "And scared empires make dangerous decisions. We need to accelerate our plans, reach out to the independent worlds and minor powers. It's time to build our own coalition." Over the following weeks, tensions continued to rise. Skirmishes broke out on the fringes of luminous space as their patrols clashed with human scout ships. independent worlds found themselves caught in the middle, pressured by both sides to choose allegiances. On the planet Nyx, a neutral trading hub, human and Lumina representatives found themselves in a heated bidding war for the loyalty of the planet's ruling council. Captain Zara Kuri, representing humanity's interests, faced off against a Lumina economic attaché in a public forum. The Lumina Confederation offers stability and protection, the attaché argued, his holographic displays showcasing the might of the Lumina fleet. Can these humans, newly returned and alone in the galaxy, offer the same? Zara stepped forward, her voice calm but resolute. We offer something far more valuable than mere stability. We offer progress. Our technologies can transform your world, elevate your people. And unlike the Confederation, we seek partners, not subjects. The debate raged on, but Zara's words struck a chord with many in the audience. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out as humanity's representatives worked tirelessly to build alliances and secure resources. Back on Celestia Prime, the Lumina Grand Council reached a fateful decision. High Councillor Xyra addressed the assembly, her voice echoing through the chamber. We have extended the hand of friendship to these humans, and they have spurned it. Their unchecked expansion threatens the stability we have maintained for millennia. We cannot allow this to continue. She paused, the energy within her exosuit pulsing ominously. I hereby authorize the mobilization of the Confederation fleet. We will contain this human threat, by force if necessary. As the council chamber erupted in a mix of cheers and protests, the gears of war began to turn. Across luminous space, warships were called to muster, weapons primed and shields raised. On Novaterra, Elena received the news with a heavy heart but steely resolve. She had hoped for peace, but prepared for war. Now it seemed, war was upon them. Send the signal, she ordered, her voice carrying the weight of command. All human outposts and allied worlds are to initiate defense protocols immediately and transmit our emergency broadcast across all frequencies. Throughout human-controlled space, a message began to play, reaching out to every ship, every outpost, every potential ally. Attention all human survivors and friends of humanity. The time has come to stand together. The Lumina Confederation seeks to deny us our rightful place in this galaxy, but we will not be silenced. We will not be erased. We are the children of Earth, and we have returned. To our allies, we call for your support. To our enemies, we offer one final warning: run. As the message echoed across the stars, both sides braced for the conflict to come. The galaxy held its breath, knowing that the war about to unfold would reshape the cosmic order for millennia to come. In her private quarters, Elena stood before a window, gazing out at the stars. The weight of 400 centuries of human survival, hopes, and dreams rested on her shoulders. Whatever came next, she knew that humanity's future, and perhaps the future of the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The stage was set, the pieces were in motion, and the greatest conflict the galaxy had seen in 40,000 years was about to begin: the Great Deception. As the galaxy teetered on the brink of all-out war, Commander Elena Vega and her advisors huddled in Novaterra's secure war room. The holographic display before them painted a grim picture. The Lumina Confederation's vast fleets were mobilizing, their numbers far outstripping humanity's current forces. We're outnumbered and outgunned, General Talon Steele, a grizzled veteran of countless simulated conflicts, stated bluntly. A direct confrontation would be suicide. Dr. Chen nodded in agreement, his fingers dancing across a data pad. Our technology gives us an edge, but not enough to overcome their sheer numbers. We need time to build our forces and solidify our alliances. Elena's brow furrowed as she studied the tactical display. Then, slowly, a smile spread across her face, a smile that made her advisors shift uneasily. Then we won't give them a direct confrontation, she said, her eyes glinting with determination. We'll give them a ghost story instead. Over the next few hours, Elena outlined a plan so audacious, so cunning, that it left even her most seasoned advisors in awe. Operation Phantasm, as it came to be known, would be humanity's greatest deception, a galactic-scale sleight of hand that would turn the Lumina Confederation's strength against itself. The plan was put into motion immediately. Across human-controlled space, a flurry of activity began, but not the kind one would expect from a civilization preparing for war. On the frontier world of Nova Arcadia, Captain Zara Kuri oversaw the implementation of the first phase. Massive holographic projectors, far more advanced than anything known to the Confederation, were deployed in orbit. These devices were capable of creating incredibly realistic phantom fleets that would appear on Lumina sensors as massive human armadas. Remember, Zara instructed her team, the key is to make it believable. We're not just creating ships, we're creating an illusion of movement, of purpose. Make them think we're everywhere at once. Meanwhile, on actual human worlds and outposts, a different kind of preparation was underway. Advanced cloaking technology, the fruit of millennia of development in hiding from the galaxy, was activated on a massive scale. Entire colonies seemed to vanish into thin air, replaced by barren, lifeless worlds. Dr. Chen, overseeing the technological aspects of the operation, couldn't help but marvel at the audacity of it all. We're not just hiding, he murmured to himself. We're creating a whole new reality for them to chase. As the Lumina fleets began their advance into what they perceived as human-controlled space, they encountered a baffling scenario. Massive human fleets would appear on their sensors, only to vanish when engaged. Worlds that intelligence reports had marked as bustling human colonies were found abandoned, showing signs of hasty evacuation. On the Lumina flagship, the Eternal Radiance, Admiral Zixthar, a distant relative of the Centauri outpost administrator, struggled to make sense of the situation. His crew watched in bewilderment as another apparent human fleet dissolved into nothingness before their eyes. "It's impossible," his tactical officer exclaimed. "They can't have this level of stealth technology. No one does." Admiral Zixar's bioluminescent patterns pulsed with frustration. "They've had 40,000 years to develop in secret. We have no idea what they're capable of." He turned to his communications officer. "Contact High Command. Tell them the humans are everywhere and nowhere. We can't pin them down." Back on Nova Terra, now hidden beneath an impenetrable cloak, Elena and her team monitored the Lumina fleet's movements with growing satisfaction. The deception was working better than they had dared hope. "They're chasing shadows," General Steele observed, a note of admiration in his voice. "And every wild goose chase is stretching their supply lines, wearing down their crews." Elena nodded, her expression a mixture of relief and determination. "But we can't rely on this forever. While they're distracted, we need to solidify our real position." To that end, human diplomats worked tirelessly behind the scenes. On worlds beyond the reach of the Lumina advance, they negotiated alliances, trade deals, and mutual defense pacts. The Phantom War raging across Lumina-controlled space provided the perfect cover for these real, substantive gains. One such negotiation took place on the neutral world of Harmonix, known for its isolationist policies. Dr. Lyra Song, a brilliant xenolinguist and diplomat, represented humanity's interests. "Your world stands at a crossroads," Lyra addressed the Harmonix Council, her voice resonating with passion. "The Lumina Confederation claims to offer stability, but at the cost of your autonomy. We offer partnership, a chance to shape the future of the galaxy together." The leader of the Harmonix, a being of living crystal named Resonance, considered her words carefully. "Your offer is intriguing, Dr. Song, but we have seen the reports of the war. How can you protect us when you seem to be losing?" Lyra smiled enigmatically. "Appearances can be deceiving, Counselor. What you see as our weakness is, in fact, our greatest strength. Allow me to show you the truth behind the illusion." With that, she revealed the nature of Operation Phantasm, demonstrating humanity's true technological prowess. The Harmonix Council was stunned, and by the end of the negotiations, a new alliance was forged. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy as more and more worlds came to see humanity not as a threat, but as a potential liberator from Lumina dominance. As weeks turned to months, the Lumina Confederation found itself in an increasingly precarious position. Their mighty fleets had been led on a wild chase across the galaxy, expending precious resources and morale in pursuit of an enemy that seemed to slip through their fingers like smoke. On Celestia Prime, the Grand Council was in uproar. High Councillor Xyra faced mounting criticism from all sides. "We've committed nearly our entire fleet to this war," one councillor raged, "and what do we have to show for it? Nothing but empty space and exhausted crews." Xyra's exosuit crackled with barely contained energy. "We cannot give up now. The humans are out there, plotting against us. We must find them before they strike." But even as she spoke, reports were coming in of unrest in the outer systems. Worlds that had long chafed under Lumina rule were beginning to rebel, emboldened by the Confederation's apparent inability to deal with the human threat. In the shadows of this chaos, humanity's true fleet was taking shape. Hidden shipyards worked at full capacity, churning out vessels that combined 40,000 years of human innovation with the best technology their new allies had to offer. On Nova Terra, Elena stood before a vast window, watching as the first of these new ships took flight. They were sleek, powerful, and unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. "It's time," she said softly, more to herself than to Dr. Chen, who stood beside her. "We've led them on this dance long enough. Now we show them the real war." Chen nodded, his expression a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "Operation Phantasm has given us the time we needed. Our allies are in place. Our fleet is ready. But Elena, are we ready for what comes next? Once we reveal ourselves, there's no going back." Elena turned to him, her eyes blazing with the fire that had carried humanity through 40,000 years of exile. "We've been ready for 40 millennia, Aiden. It's time for the galaxy to remember why they feared us in the first place." As if on cue, alarms began to sound throughout the base. A junior officer burst into the room, his face flushed with excitement. "Commander, we're detecting massive energy signatures at the edge of the system. It's the Lumina fleet, the real one. They found us." Elena's lips curled into a smile that was part anticipation, part predatory grin. "No, Lieutenant, we found them." She turned to the communications officer. "Send the signal. All ships, all allies. Operation Revelation begins now." Across the galaxy, the carefully crafted illusions of Operation Phantasm began to fade. In their place, the true might of humanity and its allies was revealed. Where the Lumina had expected to find a scattered, desperate foe, they instead faced a united front of advanced warships and determined allies. As the two fleets faced each other across the void, the galaxy held its breath. The true war was about to begin, and its outcome would reshape the cosmic order for millennia to come. Elena took her place on the command deck of humanity's flagship, the Phoenix Ascendant. As she gave the order to engage, her voice carried the weight of 40,000 years of human perseverance. "For Earth, for our future, let's remind the galaxy why they should have let us sleep." With that, the greatest space battle in galactic history erupted, marking the beginning of humanity's fight to reclaim its place among the stars turning the tide. The void of space erupted into a dazzling display of energy weapons and explosions as the human fleet, led by the Phoenix Ascendant, engaged the Lumina Armada. The initial shock of humanity's true strength had thrown the Lumina forces into disarray, but they quickly regrouped, their superior numbers still presenting a formidable challenge. On the bridge of the Phoenix Ascendant, Commander Elena Vega stood resolute, her eyes fixed on the tactical holodisplay. "All ships execute Maneuver Omega. Let's show them what 40,000 years of innovation can do." At her command, the human fleet moved with a synchronicity that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Ships weaved in and out of formation, their advanced propulsion systems allowing for maneuvers that the Luna had never seen before. Captain Zara Kori, at the helm of the swift attack cruiser Starhawk, led a squadron of fighters through the heart of the Lumina formation. "Phantom drives engaged," she announced, initiating phase shift. In an instant, Zara's squadron seemed to flicker out of existence, only to reappear behind the Lumina's rear guard. The new phase shift technology, a product of humanity's long years in hiding, allowed their ships to briefly slip out of normal space-time, becoming intangible and invisible. The Lumina fleet, caught off guard by this impossible maneuver, found their carefully arranged formation in chaos. Zara's squadron unleashed a barrage of quantum torpedoes, each one capable of disrupting the very fabric of space around its target. Back on the Phoenix Ascendant, Dr. Chen monitored the battle from the science station. "The phase shift is working perfectly," he reported. "The Lumina have no defense against it." Elena nodded, but her expression remained grim. "It's not enough. Their numbers are still overwhelming. We need to take out their flagship." As if in response to her words, the massive Lumina flagship, Eternal Radiance, moved to the forefront of their formation. Its size dwarfed even the largest human vessels, and its weapons began to charge with an ominous glow. "All ships, brace for impact," Elena shouted, just as the Eternal Radiance unleashed a devastating beam of energy that cut through space like a scythe. Several human ships and their allies were vaporized instantly, while others were left crippled and drifting. The bridge of the Phoenix Ascendant shook violently, alarms blaring as systems overloaded. "Shields at 30%, reported the tactical officer, his voice strained. "We can't take another hit like that." Elena's mind raced, searching for a solution. Then her eyes fell on a small, inconspicuous ship at the edge of their formation. "Get me Captain Ravi on the Trojan horse," she ordered. Moments later, the face of Captain Ravi Mehta appeared on the screen. His ship, the Trojan horse, was unique in the human fleet, a vessel designed not for combat, but for subterfuge. "Captain," Elena began, her voice urgent, "it's time to use the Pandora Protocol. Can you get your ship inside the Eternal Radiance's shields?" Ravi's eyes widened slightly, but he nodded without hesitation. "Consider it done, Commander. It's been an honor." As the transmission cut off, Elena turned to Dr. Chen. "Aiden, I need you to create a diversion, something big enough to draw their attention away from the Trojan horse." Chen thought for a moment, then a spark of inspiration hit him. "The solar harvesters," he said. "If we detonate them all at once, it'll create a localized supernova effect. It might buy us the time we need." Elena gave the order, and across the battlefield, the human fleets saw the harvesters, massive devices designed to collect and store stellar energy, began to overload. The resulting explosion was blinding, a miniature star born in the heart of the battle. In the chaos and confusion that followed, the small, unassuming Trojan horse slipped past the Lumina defenses, its advanced stealth systems rendering it nearly invisible. As it approached the massive hull of the Eternal Radiance, Captain Ravi took a deep breath. "Initiating Pandora Protocol," he said softly, pressing a sequence of buttons on his console. The Trojan horse began to change, its hull seeming to melt and flow. In reality, it was dissolving into billions of nanobots, each one carrying a fraction of the ship's crew and systems. These nanobots swarmed into the Eternal Radiance through microscopic openings, reassembling inside the Lumina flagship. On the bridge of the Eternal Radiance, Admiral Zixthar was barking orders, trying to regain control of the battle after the blinding explosion. Suddenly, alarms began to blare throughout the ship. "Admiral," his second-in-command cried out, "we're detecting multiple breaches throughout the ship. Our systems are being overridden." Before Zixthar could respond, the ship's own weapons turned inward, tearing it apart from the inside. The mighty Eternal Radiance, pride of the Lumina fleet, began to break apart, its destruction sending shockwaves through the Lumina forces. On the Phoenix Ascendant, a cheer went up as they watched the enemy flagship disintegrate. But Elena's victory was bittersweet, knowing the sacrifice that had made it possible. "All ships," she commanded, her voice carrying a mix of determination and sorrow, pressed the advantage. For Captain Ravi and the crew of the Trojan Horse, for humanity. The tide of battle had turned. With their flagship destroyed and their formations in disarray, the Lumina fleet began to falter. Human ships, along with their allies, pushed forward relentlessly, their advanced weapons and tactics proving superior to the Lumina's sheer numbers. As the battle raged on, news of the conflict spread across the galaxy. On countless worlds, beings watched in awe as humanity, a species long thought extinct, brought the mighty Lumina Confederation to its knees. On Celestia Prime, the Lumina Grand Council was in panic. High Counselor Xera, her exosuit crackling with agitation, faced the harsh reality of their situation. We must sue for peace," she finally admitted, her voice heavy with defeat, "before we lose everything." Back on the battlefield, Elena received the transmission from Celestia Prime. The Lumina Confederation was offering an unconditional surrender. As she read the terms, a mix of emotions washed over her: relief, triumph, and a deep aching sadness for all that had been lost. "Stand down all weapons," she ordered, her voice carrying across the human fleet and their allies. "The war is over. We've won." As the guns fell silent and the energy weapons powered down, the true scale of the conflict became apparent. The space around them was littered with debris from both sides, a graveyard of ships and shattered dreams. Elena stood at the viewport of the Phoenix Ascendant, gazing out at the aftermath of the battle. Dr. Chen joined her, his usual energy subdued. "We did it," he said softly. "We've reclaimed our place in the galaxy." Elena nodded, her expression solemn. "Yes, but at what cost?" This was never just about victory, Aiden. It was about ensuring a future for humanity. Now we have to prove we deserve it. As the fleet began the process of securing their victory and tending to the wounded, Elena knew that the real challenge was just beginning. They had won the war, but now they had to win the peace. The galaxy was watching, waiting to see what this resurgent humanity would do with their newfound power. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter as humanity stood on the precipice of a new era. The children of Earth had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. A new dawn. In the months following the decisive battle against the Lumina Confederation, the galaxy entered a period of profound transformation. Humanity, once thought extinct, now stood at the center of a rapidly evolving cosmic order. The fall of the Lumina Confederation had created a power vacuum, and worlds across the galaxy looked to the resurgent humans for leadership, guidance, and protection. On Novaterra, now unveiled as the temporary capital of human space, Commander Elena Vega found herself thrust into a new role. No longer just a military leader, she had become the de facto representative of humanity to the galaxy at large. As she prepared for a crucial meeting of galactic leaders, she couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "You look tense," Dr. Chen observed as he entered her office. "More so than before the battle, if that's possible." Elena managed a wry smile. "Fighting a war is straightforward compared to building a peace, Aiden. We've appended millennia of galactic order. Now we have to prove we can create something better." The meeting was to be held in the newly constructed Harmony Dome, a massive structure designed to accommodate representatives from hundreds of worlds. As Elena made her way to the central podium, she saw faces both familiar and alien. Former allies who had fought alongside humanity, ex-Lumina worlds seeking a new path, and neutral civilizations curious about this resurgent species. Taking a deep breath, Elena began her address. "Representatives of the galaxy, I stand before you not as a conqueror, but as a partner in shaping our shared future. Humanity's return has brought great change, and with it, great responsibility." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembled delegates. "We did not fight this war to replace one domineering power with another. Our vision is of a galaxy united in diversity, where each civilization is free to pursue its own path while contributing to the greater good of all." As Elena outlined her proposal for a new galactic alliance, Murmurs of approval spread through the chamber. The plan called for a decentralized structure, with power shared among member worlds. Advanced human technology would be gradually disseminated to raise the standard of living across the galaxy. In return, humanity sought cooperation in scientific endeavors and mutual defense. Not everyone was immediately convinced. A representative from a former luminous stronghold world stood up, his voice tinged with skepticism. "Your words are noble, Commander Vega, but how can we trust that humanity won't become the very thing it fought against? Power corrupts, as the saying goes." Elena nodded, acknowledging the concern. A valid question, which is why we propose the establishment of an independent watchdog council comprised of representatives from all member worlds. This council will have the authority to investigate and check any perceived abuses of power, including by humanity. The proposal was met with surprised approval. It was a level of accountability that the galaxy had not seen before. As the discussions continued, various worlds and factions voiced their concerns and hopes. Elena and her team worked tirelessly to address each issue, demonstrating a willingness to compromise and adapt that impressed many of the delegates. Captain Zara Curry, now serving as humanity's chief diplomat, skillfully navigated the complex web of interspecies politics. Her experiences during the war had given her unique insights into the hopes and fears of various civilizations. "The key," she explained to a group of hesitant neutral worlds, "is that we're not asking you to submit to human rule. We're inviting you to join us in creating something new, something better than what came before." As the days of negotiations stretched into weeks, a new galactic order began to take shape. The Galactic Cooperative, as it came to be known, was founded on principles of mutual respect, shared progress, and collective security. One of the most significant developments was the establishment of the Galactic Science Initiative. This ambitious project aimed to combine the knowledge and resources of all member worlds to tackle the greatest scientific challenges of the age. Dr. Chen, appointed as the initiative's first director, could barely contain his excitement. "Imagine," he said to Elena, his eyes shining with enthusiasm, "the breakthroughs we'll achieve when we combine 40,000 years of human innovation with the diverse perspectives of 100 different species." But even as the new alliance took shape, challenges remained. Not all worlds were eager to join, and the remnants of the Lumina Confederation, though defeated, still posed a potential threat. Elena and her advisors worked tirelessly to address these issues, always striving to find diplomatic solutions where possible. One of the most poignant moments came when Elena visited Earth's former location. A memorial had been constructed there, a massive holographic projection of the lost planet. As she stood before it, surrounded by representatives from across the galaxy, Elena felt a deep connection to the countless generations of humans who had dreamed of this moment. "We stand here," she said, her voice carrying across the assembled crowd and broadcast to billions of beings across the stars, not just as the children of Earth, but as citizens of a greater community. Our past is written in the dust of our lost home, but our future is inscribed in the stars we now share with you all." The ceremony marked a turning point. It was a moment of healing, of acknowledging the past while looking firmly toward the future. Many of the attending aliens found themselves moved by the depth of human emotion and the resilience of a species that had endured so much. As the first year of the new era drew to a close, the galaxy had undergone a remarkable transformation. The Galactic Cooperative was growing stronger by the day, with new worlds joining and old rivalries being set aside in the name of progress. Humanity, once a forgotten footnote in galactic history, now stood at the forefront of a new age of exploration and discovery. On Nova Terra, Elena stood at her favorite viewport, gazing out at the stars. Dr. Chen joined her, a data pad in his hand forgotten as he too took in the view. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" he asked softly. Elena shook her head, a small smile playing on her lips. "Never in my wildest dreams, Aiden. We set out to reclaim our place in the galaxy, but we've done so much more. We've given the galaxy itself a fresh start." As they stood there, A ship streaked past the viewport, its design a fusion of human and alien technology. It was headed for the outer reaches, part of a joint expedition to explore uncharted space. You know, Elena mused, for 40,000 years, our ancestors carried a warning for the galaxy. Run, they said. But now, I think we have a new message. Dr. Chen raised an eyebrow, curious. Oh, and what's that? Elena's smile widened as she watched the explorer ship disappear into the distance. Welcome home. As the ship vanished into the depths of space, its crew, a mix of humans and aliens working side by side, embarked on a journey of discovery. They carried with them the hopes and dreams of a united galaxy, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity and the boundless potential of cooperation. The story of humanity's return was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. But now, instead of a tale of vengeance or conquest, it had become a saga of redemption, unity, and hope. The children of Earth had not just reclaimed their place among the stars, they had helped forge a brighter future for all. As new challenges and adventures loomed on the horizon, one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again, and its future was brighter than ever before.